You know, when we began this campaign about a year ago, the general assumption on the part of the media and the political scientists was that young people were not interested in politics and not interested in government. And the assumption was that young people were too busy with their video games or whatever. Well, it turns out that the experts were not quite right. Because what we are seeing from coast to coast is that young people understand that they are the future of this country and they damn well want to help determine. This is your country. And you have a right to start making the decisions that will impact your lives now and into the future. What this campaign is doing is something very unusual in American politics. We're telling the truth. And the truth is that if we are going to create an economy that works for all of us and not just the 1%, we're going to have to think outside of the box, outside of the status quo. Right now, we are living in a nation which has a corrupt campaign finance system in which billionaires are buying elections. We have the power to change that, and together we will change that. We are living in a nation today in which we have a rigged economy. And a rigged economy means that we have more income and wealth inequality than any other major country on earth. It is worse today than at any time since 1928, and we are going to change that too. Here is the truth. The truth is that if we don't turn around this economy, your generation, for the first time in the modern history of America, will have a lower standard of living than your parents.
It's not right.
Together, we will not allow the American dream to die. What this campaign is about is understanding that the United States of America today is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But most people don't know that because almost all of the new income and wealth is going to the people on top.
Fuck 'em!
And what thinking outside of the box means, what thinking outside of the status quo is to ask some very simple questions. Questions like, why are we the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people as a right? Questions like, why are we the only major country on earth that does not guarantee paid family and medical leave? Questions like, why is it that millions of people who have gone to college and graduated college are leaving school with $30,000, $50,000, $70,000 in debt? In my view, in the year 2016, when we talk about public education, it is not good enough to talk about first grade through 12th grade. The world has changed, the economy has changed, Technology has changed. People need more education. And that is why together we will make public colleges and universities tuition free. And when we make public colleges and universities tuition free, we are telling every school child in Indiana or Vermont that no matter the income of their families, if they study hard and they do well in school, yes, they will be able to make it into the middle class. They will be able to get a college education. This campaign is about listening to ordinary Americans and not just wealthy campaign contributors. We are listening to women who are tired of making 79 cents on the dollar compared to men. And I know that every man here will stand with the women in the fight for pay equity. And this campaign is rejecting Republican family values that tell every woman in Indiana and every woman in America that she does not have the right to control her own body. I disagree. And this campaign is also rejecting so-called Republican family values when they tell us that our gay brothers and sisters do not have the right to marry. And this campaign is listening to working people, and they are telling us they cannot get by on $7.25 an hour minimum wage. And that is why together we're going to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, $15 an hour. And this campaign is listening to scientists. And what the scientists, and I hope many of you will become the scientists of the future. What the scientists are telling us unequivocally is that climate change is real. Climate change is caused by human activity, and climate change is already doing devastating harm throughout our country and throughout this planet. And that is why we have a moral responsibility to make certain that the planet we leave to our children and future generations is a planet that is healthy and a planet that is habitable. And what that means is that we have got to tell the fossil fuel industry that the future of this planet is more important than their short-term profits. And when we talk about the environment, one of the crises that we are going to have to deal with in the coming years is the fight for clean drinking water. Which leads me to the conclusion that we have got to end fracking in the United States of America. The history of our country with regard to how change takes place, real change, is not a complicated history. Change, real change, always takes place from the bottom on up, never from the top on down. And what this campaign is about is an understanding that no person, no president not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can do it alone. And the reason for that is that the powers that be, the people who control our economy, our political life, who control the media, are so powerful that the only way we bring real change is when millions of Americans stand up and say loudly and clearly, enough is enough. We want a government that represents all of us, not just wealthy campaign contributors. Now, what's going on all across America, and I have been from California to Maine and throughout the Midwest, people are beginning to look at what goes on in America with a new eye, and they're asking questions like, why is it that in this great country, the top 1/10% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%? Why is it that in this great country, our infrastructure, our water systems, wastewater plants, roads, and bridges are falling apart? Why are we not reinvesting in rebuilding our infrastructure and creating millions of good-paying jobs? And people are asking, why is it that we have trillions of dollars to invest in a war in Iraq that we never should have gotten into? But apparently we do not have the money to invest in our inner cities where poverty and unemployment is rampant. And people are asking, they are asking why in this great country we remain the only nation without health care for all, why we have the highest rate of childhood poverty at the same time as we're seeing a proliferation of millionaires and billionaires. Here is the point that I want to make. What the establishment tries to tell you over and over again in a million different ways is that real change, substantive change, is impossible. It can't happen. We cannot end the disgrace of having more people in jail than any other country. We cannot end the fact that so many of our people sleep out on the streets, that elderly people are living in embarrassing poverty. We can't lead the world in addressing the crisis of climate change. We cannot create free tuition at public colleges and universities. These ideas are too big. Well, let me tell you, they are not too big. We can do it. We can do it if we do not allow the Donald Trumps of the world to divide us up. To divide us up between Mexican Americans or Muslims or gays, whoever we may be, when we stand together as black and white and Latino and Asian American, as Native American, as gay and straight, male and female, when we stand together and have the courage to have a vision for the future of this country, when we stand together and have the courage to tell the 1% that they cannot have it all, when we stand together and are prepared to fight for what we believe in, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. And that is what this campaign is about. This campaign is about not just electing a president. It is about transforming America. It is about making certain that every American understands that if they are prepared to stand up and fight and get involved in the political process, every one of you are enormously powerful people. So that is what this campaign is about. It's called a political revolution. Your presence here today makes you part of that revolution. Next Tuesday, there's going to be a very important Democratic primary here in Indiana. And this is what we have found out so far in this campaign. And that is when voter turnout is high, when working people and young people come out to vote in large numbers, we win. When voter turnout is low, we lose. Let us next Tuesday have the highest voter turnout for a Democratic primary in the history of the state of Indiana. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to go inside. There's a TV over there, so you can get the whole speech, not the abbreviated speech. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.